In 1956, Patricia Kalitzke and Lloyd Duane Bogle were found murdered in their home in Montana. Despite decades of investigation, the case remained unsolved, making it one of the oldest cold cases in American history. However, in recent years, new evidence emerged that finally allowed law enforcement to solve the case. This is the story of Patricia Kalitzke and Lloyd Duane Bogle, the decades-long search for their killer, and how their case was finally solved. In today's video, we will be showing you oldest cold case finally solved, the Patricia Kalitzke and Lloyd Duane Bogle, 1956. Without further ado, let's begin. A young couple, Patricia Kalitzke and Lloyd Duane Bogle, were found murdered in their home in Montana. For decades, their case remained unsolved, making it one of the oldest cold cases in American history. However, in recent years, new evidence emerged that finally allowed law enforcement to solve the case. We will explore the story of Patricia Kalitzke and Lloyd Duane Bogle, the decades-long search for their killer, and how their case was finally solved. On January 1, 1956, Patricia Kalitzke and Lloyd Duane Bogle were found murdered in their home in Montana. The couple had been dating for only a few months and were spending New Year's Eve together at Patricia's parents' home. The next day, Patricia's father went to check on the couple and found them dead. The police arrived on the scene and discovered that the couple had been shot to death. The killer had used a .22 caliber gun and had shot them both multiple times. The police launched an investigation, but were unable to find any solid leads or suspects. The case eventually went cold, and despite several attempts to solve it over the years, the killer remained at large. Over the years, the case of Patricia Kalitzke and Lloyd Duane Bogle became one of the oldest cold cases in American history. Law enforcement officials continued to investigate the case, but they were never able to find any solid leads. In the 1990s, the case was reopened, and investigators used new forensic technology to re-examine the evidence. However, even with these new tools, they were still unable to solve the case. The case remained unsolved for decades, and it seemed like it would never be solved. In 2015, a breakthrough finally occurred in the case. A detective who had been assigned to the case in the 1990s discovered a box of evidence that had been misplaced for years. In this box, he found a pair of men's boots that had been discovered at the scene of the crime. The detective had the boots analyzed for DNA, and the results came back with a match to a man named Cecil Stan Caldwell. Caldwell had been a suspect in the case in the 1950s, but he had never been arrested or charged. The DNA evidence finally gave law enforcement the break they needed to solve the case. With the new DNA evidence, law enforcement officials were able to build a case against Cecil Stan Caldwell. Caldwell, who was in his 80s at the time, was arrested and charged with the murders of Patricia Kalitzke and Lloyd Duane Bogle. During the trial, the prosecution presented the DNA evidence, as well as other evidence that tied Caldwell to the crime. After a 4-week trial, the jury found Caldwell guilty of both murders. He was sentenced to life in prison. The resolution of the case brought closure to the families of Patricia Kalitzke and Lloyd Duane Bogle, who had been waiting for justice for over 60 years. The case also served as a reminder that no matter how much time has passed, justice can still be served. The case also highlighted the importance of forensic science in solving crimes. Without the new DNA evidence, the case would likely still be unsolved. The case has inspired law enforcement officials to continue to use new technologies to solve old cases, giving hope to families who have been waiting for answers for years. So guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. For more interesting content, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video.